Hey everybody, welcome back to I Know a Guy. I'm Anthony, and this is the podcast where connections thrive. Each episode, we spotlight inspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals doing amazing things. Together, we'll grow your circle, spark collaborations, and discover new opportunities. Today, we're meeting Erika Wilson, the founder of DWEGO Consulting, who helps small and mid-sized service businesses eliminate operational bottlenecks and build scalable systems. With a strategic, tech-forward approach, Erika empowers leaders to focus on growth while streamlining daily operations for long-term success. How are you doing today, Erika?
I'm good, thank you. Happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday. My brain's been a little slow to get going, but I think we're good now. Everything's warmed up. But yeah, I was excited to have you on. I enjoyed our conversation. You're doing some cool things, and people out there need to know you. So to start off with, where are you calling in from? Where are you located?
I'm based in Scottsdale, Arizona. Nice and warm out here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely warmer than here in Iowa. We're getting warm actually, so it's not so bad right now, but not Arizona warm.
No, we're already in the 80s. I'm happy.
Oh, no, thanks. So, are you newer to the area? You've been there forever?
No, I'm new. I'm 19 months old, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, being new to the area, you've probably tried a couple things. If you have friends coming into town, where are you going? What are you guys doing? And where are you going for dinner?
Well, we like to do natural things. So we like to go to the botanical garden, the zoo, go hiking. We have 2 young daughters and a fairly young dog, and we like to get out and just get some fresh air. Favorite restaurant? Oh, good Lord. I have not been to the same restaurant twice since I've moved here. So I can't yet pick a favorite. My favorite foods, however, is probably sushi.
Sushi?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Genre of food's fine. We don't need to name drop any restaurants or anything like that. But yeah, so sushi's the go-to. Never had it. Not a fan of fish, so I'm afraid to try it. So
Oh no,
might not be the place that I go. But interesting. Okay, awesome. Well, what can you tell us about what you do? What's DWEGO Consulting?
DWEGO Consulting started out of sheer chance. I met a guy, not you this time, another guy. He introduced me to his team to literally just do training for project management and time management. And that very quickly evolved into full-scale business that is project management, process management orientated. I learned that I have a unique skill in seeing the simplicity and the complexity and being able to translate that into business-orientated solutions that are very unique for each business.
Okay. And so you met a guy, but what's that story look like? Like, is this something that you were always wanting to do and didn't know how to get started, or what's the journey? How'd you get to where you're at now?
No, I started in financial services. Absolutely loved it, and always had a little bit of system engineering in the background. I was a team leader for the quality control team way back when, and couldn't quite wait for the system administrators to do their jobs. So asked permission to do it myself, got the permission, and just pretty much took off from there. We built a really, really robust financial services system that included a lot of communication efficiencies, a lot of checkpoint efficiencies. It really had such a profound impact on how my business at the time attended to very basic problems and were able to really overcome a lot of those issues. Especially when it comes to just remembering basics, checklist items, how to correctly communicate, what to correctly communicate. So a lot of that included email templating, checklist templating, how do you build it all into the system so we have to think a little less. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, thinking a little less, I could use that.
Yeah.
Just take
and then
away.
When I moved to Jamaica, I spent 6 years in Jamaica before coming here. I really was able to take those skills of process engineering and apply it into a much smaller scale, where the business I was working for, which was a marketing firm, they had fantastic bits and pieces of process, but none of it was systemized. So we were able to build it all into a beautiful system for them. And they didn't really have standard operating procedures written down. So it was all up there. And it was very much hands-on, word of mouth kind of training. So when we built out their standard operating procedures and we built out their systems for them, then suddenly it all became a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more consistent and a little bit more communication centric. So within the teams, you had a lot better communication because there was a sense of overlap, understanding of each other's jobs. And it made that, yes, everybody's doing their jobs, but now they understand why they're doing their jobs and how what they're doing affects other people in the firm. And in so doing, you just create a sense of collaboration that was really amazing to see happen.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what is it that you love most about what you're doing now?
Seeing small businesses win. I am big picture economics. I want to see small businesses become medium businesses and really thrive into big economies all by themselves. They have such a fundamental impact in the economy and making sure that communities grow. So I'm a capitalist at heart, big time.
Awesome. Yeah, no, we need more of that. That's the backbone of our country is, small
Yeah,
business and then medium business and then just growing and employing more people. And
exactly. And
that's how it works.
unfortunately, a lot of business owners are really exceptionally good at what they do. They're just maybe not as good as business management as I am. And for that reason, I want to be able to translate my skills efficiently into their businesses and help them create those same wins that I can create for myself.
No, that's a really important point. You might be a really, really good plumber. But it
Yes.
doesn't mean you're going to be good at the rest of it. So you need to get that bit figured out, and there's people out there that can help you.
Exactly.
So,
And it's the small things that inevitably add up.
hmm what does your average client look like, or what are some pain points that a business owner might be going through that if they're dealing with X, Y, Z, you're the person that they should be talking to?
A common theme is surrounding communication. It's internal communication. How do I communicate certain tasks to my team and ensure that they are completed correctly? How do I communicate with my client in an efficient manner? Especially when you start looking at project management, where there's a lot of factors involved, you want to really streamline that communication to keep it simple because clients don't want to read books of reports. They want to read a simple summary, get maximum output, and yet still feel in touch with the project and the details within the project. Another big part of the equation is HR onboarding. I have come across a lot of, there is recruitment, there is payroll onboarding, there is training, but it's not streamlined. It's not talking to each other. And then inevitably, you lose someone a little bit in the process. It's a bit too detached sometimes. If you can apply a simple bit of process engineering, firstly, you can streamline a lot of that administration intensity. A lot of the training can become a little bit more automated and a little bit more independent. So you win in so many different ways with employees coming on board, ensuring consistency across the board for 100 employees, not just two, ensuring that there's a streamline in your payroll onboarding, ensuring that your reporting is fully detailed, but it doesn't take you time to build those reports. It's click of a button. And if I've achieved that for any one business, now one.
What is your what about power partners? What are other industries or other professionals that you synergize well with, or you find a lot of collaborative opportunities working with?
For me, the business partners are financial advisors. They have a lot of knowledge of the struggles of business owners, and they can recommend my services or my kinds of services. Business brokers. A lot of businesses that need to be selling or are looking at retiring or just want to change in career themselves, they might want to sell their businesses. And one of the common themes that comes out of that is a business that doesn't have the most financially sound structure will still be saleable if the operations are. And if you can create a sound operational structure, then it's easy to hand over to the next person who might be able to make it more financially successful in their own way.
Yeah, last thing you want to do is have to be mandatory part of your business, right? You can't.
Exactly. And if you look at business investments, a lot of them will come in and create that for you, but then your business value has been substantially reduced on initial sale. If you want to grab that maximum value, you want to have the best possible product to sell. And if that product is your business, you want to make sure that they're not going to find too many silly faults, that they would find reason to devalue your business.
So, being an entrepreneur yourself and working with a lot of business owners, what advice would you give a new or aspiring entrepreneur?
take the time up front. That's the hard part. We work extremely hard to network. We work extremely hard to market ourselves. And then we put so much effort into those initial communications without recording what that looks and feels like, without thinking it through strategically. Like, let me map it out as I'm going. Let me write it down so that I know when I've communicated with this client. How did I communicate with this client? Systemize it from that point of view so that when you do your next client, when you do 5 or 10 or 11 clients at the same time, that you have an efficient process. You have your drafts. You know when you're supposed to contact clients. You know what you're supposed to say. You learn from your mistakes as you go, so you can improve that consistently. It does require a little bit of extra effort up front. And that's the hard part, because there's so much going on when you're starting a new business. And there's so much going on when you're just like 3 or 4 people and you're just trying to get the job done. How can you spend so much extra time trying to define what it's supposed to look like? And yet that's probably the most important time, you actually have the most time because you're spending so much time on each individual client, winning them over. Use that time valuably and document what you're doing so that you can apply that same formula of care and love to your next client.
Fantastic advice. How can small businesses eliminate operational bottlenecks to achieve scalable growth?
Excel is a great friend to all of us. And if you don't know Excel formulas, Google is a great friend to all of us. I'm not the biggest fan of promoting Google as a project management system. However, when you're dealing with a small business, it is a great place to start. It's a great place to start systemizing what you do and figuring out what the important elements are. So that eventually, when you're big enough to employ formal software, you already have the baseline to put into that software, and it just streamlines it that little bit quicker.
How can strategic planning and process refinement simplify complex business operations?
Many, many, many business owners that I've spoken to talk about their business in terms of tasks. They have 1,000,001 things to do, and they have to talk to all these different people, and then they have to ensure that the team are all talking to each other. And I'm thinking, there's a process for this. Processes are simplified tasks lists. And the minute you structure them into a stream that makes sense, the minute you determine where what should happen most efficiently, you get the maximum benefit. And it's easier to remember 5 steps in a process than 20,000 tasks. And that's the way I look at it. If you can just put it into buckets where they fit together, it just suddenly makes a lot more sense. And all the psychological studies will tell you, people remember things easier when they can categorize them together. And a process is no different. It's a categorization of tasks. And if you just take the time to put them into their little buckets and make them all follow in a little order, it just becomes that much easier, and people are going to remember it that much quicker. And you can build a system on top of that.
That makes a lot of sense. Last thing you want to go in is just a spider web of stuff, and you're like, I don't even know where to start. Right? What am I doing today? Things are going to fall through the cracks. You're going to miss obvious things, and you're going to do it in the least efficient way.
That's where starting in Excel does help, because it helps us to categorize those tasks. It helps us to keep track of what it is that we have been doing so that we can streamline all those steps.
How can service-based businesses use tech-forward solutions to run more efficiently?
Tech-forward solutions can be as simple as using AI to create email templates and using those templates when you communicate to clients. It's often the most intense part of service-based businesses is just communicating with clients effectively so that you don't have too much coming back and having to respond and coming back. The up and down of communications is a very intense and time-consuming task. We want to do it because we know the value in doing that for our clients. But at the same time, you want to structure your communication and be very specific about how you approach it so that you can just reduce that. The client has the same level of satisfaction at the end of the day, and you've done just a little bit less work achieving that. Other efficiencies will include basic project management software. This is where I say project management through Excel has a limit. Whereas if you can systemize it with real automations in a software, it just streamlines things a little bit better. And if you can integrate that with, say, your financial software, and you don't have to bother with data capturing, which is, again, another big time waster in businesses, then you've achieved another massive win in time.
So there's way more here than we can go into in any 15 or 30-minute segment. Is there anything in general that we might have missed or that I might have failed to ask?
You know what? There's so much to cover, as you said. And it is so hard to cover it in a smaller, shorter conversation like this. But the simple fact of the matter is, just take a step back, look at your business, plan it, plan your week. It's a simple task just to plan your week and to see what needs to be done. Can I put this into a bucket? If I can put this into a bucket, it's the first step towards process engineering. I often say anybody can do process engineering. Anybody. But we have to take the time. And sometimes it requires a bit of passion. Not everybody's passionate about it.
Yeah, for sure. We all have our different strengths. So for those that, maybe don't have the passion for it or maybe like help with it, where can they get a hold of you? How can they find you?
You can contact me through LinkedIn, through Facebook, and through Instagram. You can also have a look at my website at DWEGO where I give a description of how I do what I do. And hopefully you'll find that information useful and give me a shout.
Perfect. If anybody would like to get a hold of Erika, absolutely do it. I'm going to put all that in the show notes, so it's super easy to find.
Thank you.
Just click and go. Have that conversation. Be more efficient. You're running your business. You don't want to be, consumed by it, right? Get good at, running your business, not being ran over by your business. So
you want to enjoy what you're doing.
Exactly. So yeah, if you're wanting that help, absolutely reach out, have that conversation. She's exactly as nice in person as she is, or in a one-on-one as she is on here. So don't be afraid to do that. If anybody would like to get a hold of me, you can find me at ikag.me. You can find more episodes, subscribe to our newsletter, and connect with our growing community of awesome people like Erika. If you or somebody you know would like to be interviewed, you can also apply on the website. But Erika, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know we barely scratched the surface here. So let's all get out there, put some of this to use. Ask questions, make connections. Let's have an awesome day and go out and grow our circles. All right.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate the time.
It's my pleasure.
Have a good one.